Alright, so now we've got the sawdust down in our pathway, and you can see here we've created that another keyhole or mandala shape here with our central path and all our usable bed around the outside. We've got the sawdust down. Now, one thing I do with the sawdust is some people say, oh, you should never put sawdust or anything in your veggie patch because it creates a nitrogen debt. In other words, as the soil tries to break that sawdust down, it sucks nitrogen out of the soil and creates a nitrogen debt. So what I do to overcome that is I just sprinkle a little bit of blood and bone through my sawdust pathway so that I'm not creating that nitrogen imbalance within the ground. Then just spread that around. Now, one of the great advantages of the sawdust is that apart from defining that pathway, is you can whip out from the kitchen, keeps your boots clean, run back in, you're not taking mud all through the house. Now, the next thing we're going to do, now this is something that I've just started to do probably in the last 12 months. I used to plant directly into these beds, but I now put a little bit of extra mulch on the surface. Two reasons for that. One is it adds more organic matter to the soil, and also it actually stops a little bit of weed coming up, which means that there's even less work I've got to put into the veggie patch. So I'm going to run away. I'm going to grab a couple of wheelbarrows full of mulch. That mulch I've also mixed a bit of aged stable manure through. When I say stable manure, it's just, we've got a horse, so it's just horse manure. That manure is probably 2 or 3 months old. I'll mix that in probably about 20% to 80% leaf mulch, which just comes from a garden shredder, and I'm going to apply that over the surface of this plantable area. Then we're going to plant the plants. So I'll run away and do that, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so that's the mulching finished off. We've got probably about a 2-inch or 50mm layer of that mulch mixture there over the soil. Like I said, that's going to limit a bit of the weeding because it's going to suppress those weeds and also add more organic matter to the soil. You know, the whole permaculture thing, I mean, permaculture's a reasonably new word, I suppose, but really all we're trying to do, or all I try and do in this veggie patch, is I try and mimic nature. So I try and set up a natural environment free from chemicals. So wherever possible, I grow things chemical free. You know, I don't spray anything or anything like that. And when I can, whenever I get the opportunity, I return organic matter to the soil, just like happens in nature. In nature, leaves, branches land on the ground, the worms break them down. That little bit of blood and bone that went in there, or the chicken manure that came from the chooks, mixes with that mulch, and the worms do the rest. So really what we're trying to do here is just mimic nature. So if you always think what would happen in nature, you'll create the right environment. We'll get on now and plant these veggies. Now I'm not going to physically plant them all with you, but we'll just have a bit of a look at what we've got and what we might put in different spots around the patch. I've got 4 tomato plants here. Now I'm going to use the wire as trellising with them, so we'll put them along the back here, ready for planting. I tend to just lay things on top of the soil initially, so that way I don't have to pull things out if I want to change things around where they go. A couple of bok choy here. They're a one-off harvest, so they can go towards the back a bit too. We might keep a bit of a patch up there for some sweet corn. I plant them from seed, so they'll go in there. We'll probably run a couple of beans down either side at the front. We've got some more basil. Basil can go along because, again, we want to get access to that, so there's no point putting it up the back. Beetroots, now they're a bit of a one-off, so we'll put them towards the back. And some more rocket. That can go along the front where we get access to it. All the rest of these are lettuces, so I'll just spread them around the rest of the space. So I'm going to get on and do that now, and we'll come back and have a look when it's all finished. Okay, so I'll just pop the last of these lettuces in the ground, and then that's the planting done for the month. Now, they're all right. I'll jump back in a minute and give them a drink. We've probably spent, a little bit hard to tell because we've been filming, but probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, moving the chooks and planting the next bed. We do that each month, like I said before. You would probably in this system spend maybe up to another 2 hours a month working on the veggie patch. That might be tying up a few tomatoes, doing a bit of spot weeding, something like that. So really you could save with a total input of about 4 hours a month, we keep this veggie patch running. And that feeds, I've got a family of 4, so myself, my wife, 2 girls. We get most of our vegetables out of this vegetable patch. We don't get everything. There's some things we don't grow because it's not really worthwhile. But in general, we get most things. So really, if you're looking for a productive system with minimal input, and I mean a lot of people don't grow veggies because because veggie patches are renowned for too much work, then this system might work for you. Just before we go, a couple of other things that I've found that have come out of this system. One is because you move the chooks once a month, it makes you plant things once a month. Again, another criticism of veggie patches is over or under supply. In other words, you might have a glut of sweet corn and then you have nothing. So by planting and moving those chooks once a month, you get in the system of planting regularly and therefore getting regular crops. The other thing it does too is because you're restricted to one bay a month, it restricts how much you plant, so you don't get, again, that overcropping. So, look, this system's worked really well for me. I've had a couple of veggie patches before this, and this is the culmination of those, of the things I've learnt from those other ones. You know, I can thoroughly recommend giving it a go. If you'd like to get the plans for this particular patch, they're available on the Strongbuild website. And you can look them up there, and look, good luck with it all. Go veggies.